Hello again and welcome back to my channel. Happy Monday. If this is your first time watching, my name is Gigi and this is Styled by Glam. As you can see in the video title, today we're going to be going through my Chanel bag and jewelry collection. Some newer pieces and some vintage pieces. The pieces that I'm going to show are some of my favorites. I'm not going to go through every single bag in my closet just because I want to keep this video at a reasonable length. But the pieces that I am sharing are some of my favorite finds, as well as the vintage pieces that have a meaning to me because they've been passed on from my grandma and my mom. I have been very lucky. Both my grandma, Jane, I don't usually call her grandma, I actually call her by her name. She likes being called by her name, Jane, and my mom, huge fans of Chanel for as long as I can remember. So they've acquired some amazing pieces through the 80s, through the 90s, and a lot of them, since they don't use it anymore, they've passed on to me, and I really cherish those. So I was very lucky in that sense. A lot of my vintage pieces are actually not bought, but just passed on from my grandma, Jane, and my mama. Before moving on with the collection, if you haven't already, I would love for a subscription and give this video a thumbs up, and also check me out on Instagram and TikTok. I usually post there on a daily basis. I would love to catch up with you guys over there as well. And now on to the main event. First up, we have this vintage shoulder bag or tote that my grandma, Jane, passed on to me. Story behind this guy is I actually helped pick it out for her when we went to the Chanel store. So I guess this bag dates back to the early 80s. I don't remember doing that for her, and since the bag is quite big and it is on the heavier end, my grandma Jane, she doesn't really use it anymore, so she passed it on to me. I do have to say I don't use it as often as I wish, just because it is on the heavier end. However, I do love this bag just because the meaning behind it and the memory that's behind it. I usually use this when I go to work and stuff. I actually use it more, but on a, casual basis, it's kind of a tougher bag to use. I also love that because this is vintage, a lot of the hardware on here, the color has that orange tone to it. Like the older Chanels, they put a heavier layer of gold back in the day. So I really love this, and the fact that, I picked it out. I think I was like, she said I was like 4 or 5, so I guess the shopaholic in me started pretty early and young. Next up, we have another shoulder bag. So I'm gonna go from larger bags to the smaller one, kind of descend into the smaller pieces. This is one of the newer pieces that I guess I acquired throughout the years. I want to say I bought it in 2016 or 2015. I wanted a patent one that I realized with Chanel bags, the patent ones it lasts forever, survives a lot of wear and tear. So I've had this bag for a while now, and again, this is a bag that I often use when I go to work and stuff, or when I travel. I don't really use it on a casual basis, but I just love how simple it is. It has, the signature chain with the little Chanel logo hanging off to the side. There's 3 compartments inside, making it super convenient to put a lot of things in, especially when traveling. And I love the little center compartment where it's harder to get into, so when traveling it's perfect for like important documents like your passport and stuff. Next up is this Chanel backpack. It's a classic style. I love this almost like really soft nude color. I bought this in Tokyo, Japan, when I traveled there with my parents back in 2017, and at the time I was looking for a Chanel backpack, and I thought I would get a black one because that's kind of my go-to usually, but when the store brought it out, this color, I knew I had to get it. I don't know, with Chanel pieces, I tend to go for the colors that I feel like not everybody gets to see all the time. So yeah, this bag I love. I think I got it at the Tokyo Shinjuku Isetan, I think. Yeah, I believe so. They have a Chanel store in there, and that's where I purchased this guy. And next up is this bucket bag that I bought in 2018. I think it's part of the same collection as that resort line that came out when they had like that beachy cruise like ship vibe that was going on with the whole theme. My mom and I traveled to Osaka that Thanksgiving, and it was a mother's daughter trip. Of course, mother-daughter trip, we go shopping, that's what we do. And we each got a bag. She got a black color one, not the bucket bag, another style from that season, but this bag definitely caught my eye. And what I love about this style is the buckle. It's this like pull buckle. The only thing is my mom's, after pulling it for, you know, a few times, somehow the buckle stopped functioning, so it would just drop on its own. However, hers got fixed. She brought it back to Chanel and they fixed it for her. So yeah, this is one of my favorite finds, I guess, again, because of the color, and I feel like not everybody has this bag, and or at least this color, and that's why I love it so much. Next up, we have this, a classic Chanel flap. This is actually a vintage piece that my mom passed on to me, and it's also white, so it's kind of amazing that she was able to keep it in the condition that it is. Personally, I actually don't own a lot of Chanel flat bags, like the traditional with the caviar leather and all that. This is one of the few flat bags that I kept. One, because it was passed on from my mom, and then two, I don't usually have white color bags, so it's nice to have that. But yeah, I don't think I use it as often just because I don't want to ruin it even more. For me, it's the memory of it and the fact that it was passed on from my mom as well. Here's another flat bag. Again, it's not the traditional one that you always see. It is not leather. It is that fabric material. I forgot which year this came out. I want to say it's like early 2000s. I could be wrong. But I kept this whole time because I love how casual and light it is. And it's like an easy shoulder bag to throw on. It totally gives off that like late 90s, early 2000 vibe. Right now it's like, you know, that trend is coming back, so I think I'm gonna bust it out and use it again. But yeah, I love this one. It's fairly simple, very casual, and it's so subtle. I love the subtle logos that's on the fabric itself, nothing too crazy, and I love the black on black hardware as well. Next up, another flat bag. Again, it's not leather, it's actually denim on the outside lined with leather inside. This was a vintage find when I traveled to Korea, Seoul in 2015 or something like that. It was another mother's daughter trip. Of course, we went shopping and we came upon a vintage store, so we went inside and took a look, and I found this guy and I decided to buy it because I really liked how it looked and how casual and light it is. It's perfect for just kind of throwing it on and wear as a crossbody when going out. It's easy and it's not like too hefty to wear. Next up, we have this mini guy. It is in leather, but in that tan color. This is passed on from my grandma too. I use it a lot. I love how like tiny and petite it is, but the size in terms of putting things, it actually fits a lot. And what I love about this is it's perfect to use in the daytime, but it's also great for nighttime if any like I've used this going to weddings or formal dinners. You can just kind of wrap the chain around and hold it like a little shoulder bag, or you can kind of just hold it and it looks like a little clutch. So I love this guy, and I love my grandma Jane for passing this to me because I use it so much. She'd be happy to know that I really utilize this bag. And the last flat style bag, I guess, in this group is this guy. And why I love this guy is because this is my first Chanel ever. My mom purchased this for me when she went to Vegas, and that time I didn't go with her because I was at school. I want to say it's in 2001 or 2002, so this is considered vintage now. I think I could be wrong because I haven't really looked at Chanel flat bags for a really long time. Like I said, it's not my usual go-to. The ones that I have all been passed down to me. This size in particular, I think Chanel discontinued it, so that's why I also love it so much. Again, it's a great size in terms of just wearing casually, but it fits a lot in there. I use this so often as well. This is something that I don't think I'll ever throw away, or like not throw away, but or even like resell it or something. And also the fact that it's my mom bought it for me, so the memory behind it as well. Next, we have this beauty. This was a find that my mom, I honestly owe her, like I'm in debt to her for a lot of the bags that I have, especially when it comes to Chanel, because she would actually just shop for me sometimes. So this bag, she saw it at the Shanghai store. This was in 2004. And this was a limited edition at the time, and she knew that I should get it, and if she didn't get it, we won't, you know, this won't be something you can find in the future. So she bought it for me right then and there. When I went back for Christmas, it was a Christmas gift that she gifted to me that year, and I still use it till today. Every winter or even during the summertime, and when to add to an outfit with a pop of color, it's just so cute. This baby blue is so delicious, and it's the softest bag ever. So yeah, it's one of my faves, and I don't think I'll ever let it go. Next up, this precious thing. This belongs to my mom again. Like I said, most of my vintage items are from my mom or Jane, and I thank them for having such great taste and making such beautiful purchases that could be used even till now. This bag was actually with my mom up until last year, and then on my wedding she brought it over, and this was my something old and something borrowed at the time. And then after the wedding she was like, you know what, I don't have use of this bag anymore. I don't go to any fancy events anymore, so why don't you take it and just use it, because it's too beautiful to waste. But yeah, this is evening bag. It dates back to the early 90s or late 80s, I have to say. Again, the hardware, as you can see, has that orangey tone to it, because back then Chanel used to layer a little bit more when it came to the gold. It is very petite, but it does fit, you know, kind of the essential, like your cards and whatnot. I don't think it will fit my iPhone, but I'll still use it. It does have a little chain as well that you could wear it on your shoulder if need be. But yeah, I used this at my wedding, and it was also in the picture was taken of it by my photographer as well, with my earrings and other items. And that is it for the bag portion. Those were my favorite pieces. Those are the pieces I know I'll keep forever. Now let's move on to the jewelry portion. First up, we have these guys. These are definitely statement pieces. I bought these in the Chanel store in Shanghai when I travel back. Usually I travel back once a year, and that year when I went back they had these. Actually, I was looking for the ones that was without any jewels bejeweled on it. I was just looking for a plain silver one, but those were sold out, and they only had the last pair of these, so I figured I wouldn't let that chance go, and I made the purchase. And I actually used these a lot. They were surprisingly handy for a lot of occasions, especially, you know, if a formal dinner or when I had my wedding. I used it as one of my change of outfit jewelry, and it looked great. Next up, we have these vintage pieces from my mama. So the one thing about these guys are a lot of the Chanel earrings, they're clip-on, especially the vintage items, because back in the 90s, I guess, a lot of people wore clip-ons. So I actually don't wear these as often as I want to, because clip-ons do hurt my ears a lot. I'm looking for a jeweler to try to see if I can change the back out and make it into a piercing instead of a clip-on. I haven't done that yet, but these are from my mom, and for sure they are a keeper, just because, you know, for memories. Next pair, again, they are from my mom as well. These pearl ones with the Chanel signature strap leather on surrounding it. This pair, again, it's clip-on, and that is also why I don't wear them as often as I wish to. But yeah, so I'm trying to look for a spot to kind of get these fixed as well, along with the other pair. Next up, we have this ring by Chanel. It is a bedazzled, very statement piece, great for when you have something formal. Very like a statement piece for sure. What I love about it is so subtle. Again, like that's what I love about Chanel jewelry. If you really pay attention, you will see how like subtle it is. They only have like a little bit of a Chanel logo here on the flower, and you can barely see it, but unless you look in detail, and I love that. I love little subtle things like that and the detailing on these pieces. Bought this in Hong Kong that one year together with the shoulder bag. I think it was my mom who noticed it in the jewelry drawer, and then she was like, oh, come look at this ring, it's so cool. So yeah. Moving on to necklaces. This dainty little piece is a pass on from my grandma Jane. She told me she bought it in the, I think in the 70s or something like that. I don't remember, but it dates pretty far back. You can't even tell it's Chanel, but it has these little Chanel logos right on the chain. It's so subtle and it's so dainty. And I just love, love, love this piece. I wear it a lot. I layer it with other necklaces that I have. Again, this is a piece that honestly, unless you really look, you don't even realize it's Chanel. And I love how Chanel was so good with its details like that with a lot of their pieces, and I think that's what makes Chanel brilliant. The little detailing and not being so obnoxious about it. Some of the newer pieces, I feel like they've kind of fell and kind of strayed away from that, which makes me really sad. That's also why it makes these pieces so much more precious. And then we have this guy. This piece is, I believe, from Chanel's 2017 or 18 collection, not too long ago. So this is more a recent piece. The chain itself obviously is wrapped, the leather is wrapped inside, and the little details. I love how, you know, here there's that 3 Chanel logos. And then at the very end of the necklace, it has the Chanel dime here as well. And it's just so beautiful. And with this necklace, you can wear it multiple ways. You can wear it like this, just hanging off of your neck, kind of just like tie a little bit knot here and just let it hang casually. Or you can wear it as a choker, which is super cute too. And I wore this a lot. Lately haven't gone out much, so I can't really wear it, but you can wear it as a choker and then have these 2 pieces kind of just dangling here, or if you want to just tie it in the back and wear it in the back too, and it's super cute, and having that detail in the back as well. Last but not least, the holy grail of Chanel accessories. It's definitely their chain belt. And this vintage piece, this beautiful vintage piece that sells for, I believe online these days, like a few $1,000s, was simply passed on to me by my mom. She is brilliant when it came to shopping for Chanel. And thanks to her, I have this beautiful, beautiful piece. And I'm sorry, the weight of this guy, like the quality of Chanel back in the day, they just pay so much more attention and put so much more into their products. I don't want to say like they're trying to cheap out these days, but it is definitely more mass produced since more people are purchasing. This piece, I think my mom got it in the early 90s. The detailing of everything is just beautiful. And she barely wore it. She tells me because she felt that it was a little too heavy for her. She didn't like wearing it as much. I wear it a lot actually, and it goes with so many outfits, and it's just like a perfect little statement piece to add on. So I've actually worn this a lot, but the quality just stays. And I think this is a piece that, you know, if I have a daughter, I'll pass it on to her too, because you can forever wear this. And that is all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun sharing these favorite Chanel pieces of mine. If you did and you're still here up till now, please give me a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate that. And for those who have subscribed, I really thank you. And I am excited that you're joining me on my YouTube journey. Wishing everybody a great week ahead. I will see you guys on the next one.